Hello, madam. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm okay.
Good.
Wow. How is Lagos?
Lagos is good.
Okay.
Should I say as crazy as the rest of the world?
Yeah. Lagos has always been crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, you guys still have high traffic?
Depends on where you are and the time.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty much like rush hour everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I used to work oh my God, I can't even remember my office construction house. Adeyemo Alakija. No,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah, that's Victoria Island.
Yes. Uh, construction house that's for city. My God, I can't even remember where I worked for 8 years. It's so bad.
How long have you been away for?
I've been here since 07.
Oh wow, that's quite
Mm,
some time.
yeah. And I've only gone to the island maybe 4 times since then. So I don't even know anywhere anymore. I know that the amount of change is massive, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right. Mm,
Wow. Thank you for being here.
okay.
Let's start. So tell my audience who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Henrietta Onwuegbuzie, and I'm an associate professor in entrepreneurship here at the Lagos Business School, and I lead sessions on the executive and MBA program at Lagos Business School. So yeah, so that's basically what I do, who I am, but I'm a very impact-driven person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say you are impact-driven person, what does that mean?
That's everything about what I do has a purpose. So I'm purpose driven, and my purpose is to make a difference in the
Okay.
world, to transform lives. And so the choice of what I teach, how I teach, the things I choose to do are always things that I believe will be, I first of all, I'll learn from, and I'll also hopefully be able to help people grow as a result of
Okay.
listening. Yeah.
You see, for me, I'm a little bit like old school. Okay. I in my time, well, maybe more than my time, we have always seen entrepreneurship as something learned by doing. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's even go back. Let's go back. Define what what entrepreneurship is.
Okay. So to me, entrepreneurship is really about solving problems, being
Okay.
problem driven. Okay. So providing solutions that can be commercialized. Because if I only provide solutions and I give them out, then I'm more of a philanthropist and an entrepreneur. Okay. Or a charity.
Yeah.
So it's about building it. So being problem solution driven. Okay. So the problem you identify,
Yeah.
it's like Microsoft or InterSwitch in Nigeria saw that there was a problem with payment systems in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We're very uncomfortable on Fridays, having to leave the bank very early to go off the office, trying to leave the office early to go to the bank, queue for hours just to get some money out for the weekend. And then he knew that there were payment solutions around the world that were not available in Nigeria. And nobody believed that he could bring it to Nigeria, but he was just determined to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So I actually had firsthand experience of what he went through because he was my classmate on the MBA while he was trying to do this.
Okay.
And all the discouragement, But today he to start with, he ended up being the first unicorn in Africa. And then second, today they're the biggest boys. Were very well paid, but they're still very, very solution driven.
Yeah.
And so they make money for making a difference. So basically, entrepreneurship is really about providing solutions that can be commercialized and continuously improving on those solutions.
Yeah.
So So that's on one hand, but it's also a mindset of continuous improvement. I think that's what it is mainly, because if you don't have a mindset of continuous improvement, you will see problems and you just lament them like many of us do and walk away.
Yeah.
So they say, don't curse the darkness, instead light a candle.
Okay.
Light. So entrepreneurs are those candle lighters that see problems and get passionate enough about the solution to look for ways to solve those problems.
Very good.
Using business models.
Yeah. And that's exactly.
And let me just quickly add this, because there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner.
Yeah. Okay.
A business owner, on the other hand, is profit driven. Where can I hammer? Where can I make money? Okay, where can I hammer? Okay, that's a way to say, where's the money? Show me the money. Okay, that's
okay.
And so they're not interested in solving problems. They just want to they can buy and sell.
Okay.
So you find that. So one of the examples I use in class to clarify this difference is paint. Okay, so somebody's making money from selling paint, and the other person says, I too will sell paint, and they begin to compete on price. For 500, then I'll make mine 490, then the other one goes 485, and they keep on a price war until they hold their margins. But the entrepreneur comes and says, you're selling paint. Okay, what are the issues with the paint you're selling? It takes time to dry. The smell is unpleasant. And he says, okay, you know what? I'm going to address those two issues. I'm going to make quick drying paint. I'm going to make it pleasant smelling, or odorless to start with.
Okay.
And so he puts something in the paint and he advertises quick drying paint, odorless. And then he starts to sell maybe at 600, and people are willing to buy because, hey, they want to be able to move in quickly without getting their clothes stained. And then over time, he decides, okay, you know what? I know what I can do to my paint to make it insect repelling. And so he adds some component to the paint that is good for humans but bad for insects. And he says, insect repelling, quick drying paint, odorless. Or then you can say, okay, you know what? Why don't I make my paint fragranced? So yes, my paint doesn't have the bad smell, but I can also have a plus, make it fragranced. Okay. I get your favorite fragrance, whether it's Hugo Boss or it's Armani, code or and says, okay, so you can actually choose. I have some fragrances that are already there, but you can also tell me what your favorite fragrance is, and I can actually give you a home that has different fragrances depending on the room you're going to. Okay. So you find that the entrepreneur is able to make much more money because he creates more value. And so people are willing to pay a premium for that quick drying, insect repelling, because you're telling me that I don't need to use insecticide. Okay. And so my nearest and dearest are going to be safer. They don't have to inhale insecticide in any way, shape, or form, because my paint already ensures that insects don't get into my home. And then, of course, the fragrance is another thing that people who have money would say, oh, I'm willing to pay a premium to have my room smell of, Armani code, or I don't know what fragrance. Okay. Or better still, why don't I also add an anti-inflammatory component to my paint? I tell you, look, my paint is 1,000 naira versus 500. Because if you use my paint, there's no risk of fire, because once the fire touches the wall, there's something in the paint that will make sure it goes off. Goes out. So that's the entrepreneurial mindset. It's a problem-solving mindset.
Solution driven.
Improvements. So that's what it is.
Very good. Very good. Very good. So, like I was saying before, traditionally, entrepreneurship has been something that people do on the job. Okay, people learn to be entrepreneurs on the job. Now you are teaching entrepreneurship. Right. So for me, how effective is teaching opposed to learning it on the job, not in the classroom like yours?
All right. So let me start by saying many of us frequently fall into the trap of one or the other. How about both?
Both.
Okay, because I'll tell you how I teach it.
Okay.
I have 3 fundamental sections of my course.
Okay.
The first is where we get to establish, because you see, if you understand entrepreneurship as just business, you'll end up being a business owner rather than an entrepreneur. And I've just made it clear, told you the difference.
Yeah.
Second is, once you've understood that entrepreneurship is about problem solving, I've already cued your mindset. Okay, so you understand the basic concepts. And then I've told you there are three main components. How do you distinguish an entrepreneur from a business owner? One is the person providing a solution. Two, person commercializing. Okay, so commercialization is what entrepreneurs and business owners have in common.
Yeah.
Now, continuous improvement is more in the purview of the entrepreneur. Okay. The business owner is more to do with, okay, what next is selling. This improvement mindset. Okay, good. So those are the three things you look out for to see if someone is an entrepreneur. Yeah. Now, once you've understood, and then we look at the entrepreneurial process, how do you go about understanding entrepreneurship? We also have, then we look at growth factors. Okay, what is it that, so it's one thing to have a good product, but remember, the minute people begin to demand your product, you're going to need help to be able to produce enough for people who are interested in buying from you, which means you're going to need to employ people. That automatically makes you a leader, a team leader.
Yeah.
So then that automatically means that you have to also bring in resources. You now need inventory. So supply chain management. You now need to think about packaging. You now need to think about
marketing, all that.
Marketing, distribution, and all of that. Yeah. Okay. So to do all of this effectively, you have to be able to manage both resources and a team, which means you have to also now know management. Okay. Yeah. So basically, we first of all understand the process, the different things about management, the aspects of management. So first of all, is entrepreneurial orientation, and then business management, and then we also get them to get their hands dirty. They actually have to start a business in my course.
Okay, very good.
And then I also invite, and we also go on the company visits to go and see what entrepreneurs are doing on site. Then I also bring in entrepreneurs to class to share their experiences. How did they start? What mistakes did they make? And I give very practical assignments. But I also believe in apprenticeship.
Okay.
However, so what learning by doing is irreplaceable.
Okay.
Into my class, I can tell you, I bake very well, I cook very well, and I can tell you how to make jollof rice, so I can tell you how to bake a cake. And it will sound really easy because when you know how to do something very well, you're usually very good at explaining it. And it will sound easy peasy. But if you go home and try to do it yourself, your outcome will be different. Why? Because the nuances are taken for granted and I haven't mentioned to you. Okay, so for example, if you're baking, the way you stir the mixture matters. The way you add the ingredients also matters. The sequence also matters. Okay, so for you to bake a good cake, I'll first of all explain to you what the process is like, and then invite you to the kitchen with me to watch me bake and bake along with me at least once or twice. Yeah. Before I say to you, okay, now bake the cake. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's the same way you can learn to ride a bicycle by just watching a movie or a video about out there. But clearly, the video you have seen will help you when you're out there trying to make your first attempt at riding a bicycle or drive a car. Yeah. Okay. So I won't say the classroom experience is useless. Okay. It is
definitely.
Yes, but you see. So I don't give you exams, for instance. I give you assignments that make you get your hands dirty. So one of my assignments is start a business. And the other assignment is go and interview an entrepreneur. Find out how he started. Find out what mistakes he made, what he did right. Ask him for his learning points. And then you give him your suggestions as to how he can improve. Even what he learned in class about managing a business and managing people and managing inventory and the importance of branding, etc., etc. Right. So it's a full package. Okay, so I would say to you that apprenticeship is a very important component of entrepreneurial learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this course, is it a full course or just a section of a bigger course like business?
So the MBA program. So
okay, it's a big okay.
Yes, so we have the MBA program, for example, and we also have executive programs. But in recent times, I have started a full-blown entrepreneurship course.
So four-year program.
No. It's a 1-year program.
Okay.
For existing entrepreneurs to really strengthen their skills.
Okay.
Okay. because I found out that most people go into business doing what they can. They succeed, but they cannot be sustainable, which is why you can hardly find African businesses that are 100 years old.
Yeah.
So you find that there's some things that African businesses do better than the Western world. So for example, the success rate of entrepreneurs who go through apprenticeship is way higher, which is why I smile when I hear the GDP of Africa, because I smile because what they call the GDP of Africa is totally an erroneous figure. Reason being that in Africa and most developing countries, okay, well, Africa is a continent, or well, let me say Nigeria, for example, informal market, Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. Yet informal markets is almost as big as the formal markets. I think statistics say about 49%, while the formal market is 50% or vice versa. Now, the reason why some markets are called informal is because it cannot be measured. Okay. And you and I know that our Igbo brothers make a whole ton of money. They make a lot more money than people like us who are professors or whatever. Okay? So but because they play in the informal sector, many times you can't capture the wealth that they create.
That's true. That's true.
You only cap, and if your mechanisms of measuring GDP can only capture the formal sector, and I have told you that the formal sector and the informal sector are like half and half. It means that whatever is captured as Nigeria's GDP is actually half of Nigeria's GDP.
Okay, that's true. Now, you raise the point. The formal and informal sectors.
But I'm going somewhere.
Go on then. Go on.
So I'm trying to answer the question about how successful people are. So what I'm trying to say to you is that our because I've actually had these both players in the classroom. Okay. And I've seen that the challenge, so the informal sector people don't have a challenge of, success. So statistics have told us that in the formal sector, most businesses die within the first 3 to 5 years. Yeah. And of the 80% die within 3 to 5 years. And of the 20% that survive, in the next 3 years, they will also die. Yeah. But the story is different in the informal sector where they learn through apprenticeship. Yeah. Because they spend about 6 to 8 years on apprenticeship. Okay. By the time they get their freedom, which includes being set up by their master, by their bosses. Yeah. By their bosses, you find that these people are already experts in the field. Yeah. They already know the market. And so their success rate, and I've done an empirical study on this, is it's a lot higher. 5 to 80%. Yeah. I actually have figures for it. Based on good. Okay. So you find that it's a flip. While this failure rate is growing in the formal sector, where they just do mainly classroom learning and tell you go and write a business plan and then we'll give you money. Okay. So failure rate in that sector has gone from 75 to 80%. Today is 90%. Okay. For the entrepreneurs who are doing, as you were saying initially, the on-the-job learning, their failure rate is minimal. In fact, failure rate is only due to personal irresponsibility. So for the ones who, instead of learning, steal or behave irresponsibly, start and then are sent away, okay, they are the ones who fail. But the ones who do the apprenticeship as they were meant to do it, and they do it well and they serve well, it's usually 100% success. The reason why I said 75 to 80% is because you have a 20% delinquency rate. Yeah. That's why they fail, because they're delinquent during the apprenticeship tenure. Okay, period. Yeah. So the other ones who only do classroom learning. What I would say is that most mainstream entrepreneurship training tends to be lacking in the different components I explained before. Okay. So it's 100% classroom learning. They tell you to write a business plan based on a hypothetical idea, which is the biggest fallacy. If I was taught like that, but I don't teach like that, because I've come to realize, because I also run a business. Okay. And I sit on many boards, which gives me a lot of hands-on experience. I've realized that you really cannot write a good business plan without a good feasibility study, which can take months or even years.
Even years, yes.
So basically what I train my students to understand is that, look, you have different tools to help you at different stages of your business. Yeah. So the business model canvas is actually more ideal for the initial stage of the business. And at that stage, you can use other tools like your pest analysis, your SWOT analysis to help you get this model canvas right. Okay. So for me, these are tools to help you get your feasibility studies right. Feasibility meaning, okay, so I've identified this problem. I'm thinking this solution I have may be worth it. I test that solution.
Yeah.
And I'm getting feedback from the people who are facing the problem for me to refine my initial idea.
Yeah.
Such that by the time I have gone through those iterations to help me refine my idea, I'm now able to come up with a product that is now acceptable and is being demanded at scale.
Yeah.
At the point where there's scaled demand for my product is when I actually need a business plan to help me really scale.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
And then that's even when I need the kind of large scale funding that will help me be able to buy the equipment and things I need to scale, because I now have a proven ready market.
Very good.
Willing to even pay in advance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's when. So it's almost like I tell people a business is like a baby. You don't give a newborn baby solid food.
Yeah.
So no matter how nourishing that solid food is, they're not ready for it yet.
It's going to be a waste.
It's going to kill the baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Down their foot. So when somebody only who has an idea goes and writes a business plan and gets funding, you've given him an overdose.
I agree.
That will no good.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I give my students very little money at the beginning.
Yeah.
On purpose, and they are compelled not to add any funding of theirs to it.
And
they end up running million naira businesses within 3 months.
Before they now they need that large chunk of funding.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they also see for themselves how you can grow, start small while thinking big. Okay. So the whole idea of the lean startup, which our forefathers have always known, but Harvard calls, a new name, and of course starts teaching it as a new breakthrough, which has always been practiced in our indigenous African, communities. Okay. So I tell people, if you don't have money, how do you start? You start lean.
Yeah.
But it's also an advantage. It's not a disadvantage, because you see, when you start lean, it makes you test, improve, refine, and evolve as you grow.
Yeah.
It also helps you learn the markets, learn your customers, learn what they want, understand the varieties you can offer based on the expressed needs. So it's a learning opportunity for you, because once you start something new, you're bound to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if those mistakes are inexpensive, you can overcome them and continue to grow.
Yeah.
But when you have a large sum of money at the initial point, because you spend a lot of money, your mistakes are so expensive that they knock you out.
Yeah.
And that's why businesses die at a young stage.
Very good. Very good. See, Henrietta, what you have explained now is invaluable lessons. Okay. Now, from what I've heard from you is that, hey, even though you are a professor of entrepreneurship, you still are very much in line with traditional entrepreneurship of what's it called again?
Bringing in African indigenous apprenticeship principles. Yes.
Apprenticeship. Yes. Now, certainly there are things that you teach, okay, in the classroom, which most of apprenticeship system doesn't do well.
Exactly.
Okay. What are those things, and how can we merge them to improve the success of the whole thing?
So for instance, the indigenous ways of managing your books, but hey,
number one,
you want to scale and be able to get bank credits, you need to manage books according to general accounting principles.
Okay.
2, you also need to know how to manage people. The principle for building teams and managing people.
Yeah.
So for example, when I say harmonize personal goals with company goals.
Yeah.
Via commitments. Okay. So some people actually do it in the indigenous practice.
Okay.
Like I wrote a case on him, one of my previous students who is a very successful entrepreneur. He learned from his father, who was a carver from childhood, because father would make all of them go to work with his workers in his workshop.
Yeah.
To treat people well. So today he's the only entrepreneur I know who, each time he travels, comes back with gifts for every single staff.
Wow.
And not just once a year. He travels 5 times a year. Each time he goes, he brings gifts back for them. And the intent is so sincere that he says, he gets his staff who's traveling with him to make a list. And in that list, they have first choice, second choice. So
yeah. So if you don't have this, get this.
You can find the second choice. And so that staff who is traveling with him knows that part of his assignment that trip is to make sure he gets all the gifts on that list. And I just thought that's such a beautiful way of, and I said to him, why did you start doing this? He said, well, my father did it for all of us.
Wow.
All the staff were treated just like his children. So he didn't have any preparation because you were his children. You know, so I mean, and I think that already is a big incentive for people to feel this is our business and be committed to making sure it succeeds.
Yeah.
And his business grew even while he was away at school at Harvard, because he has leadership, so he went to Harvard Kennedy School of Government. And while he was away, he didn't have his business continue to grow because his staff were very committed to the growth of the business.
Very good. Very good.
But this idea is not very it's not very common. People tend, even in mainstream corporate world, people tend to exploit staff.
Yeah.
So we help them understand how to treat people, to get their commitments, to inspire trust, to inspire commitments.
Yeah.
And help, because again, your business is only as good as your staff are willing to allow it to become. So we train all of that, and then of course the importance of branding.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And collaborations, how to grow in different ways, either organically or through collaborations or merger acquisitions. So all those things help. Supply chain management. How do you manage your inventory efficiently? How do you imbibe technology in your business? Okay, so for instance, now we have Instagram, all these social media things that were not in existence before.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate it to advantage to reduce your cost of operations?
Yeah.
Increase the scope of market that you have available to you.
Yeah.
So it is succession planning, sustainability. Okay. So all those things are the things that we bring in.
Yeah.
And then, of course, hearing from other people, the storytelling. Getting entrepreneurs to come to class to share their experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
Not just the nice of things, So, and then going out to those businesses, seeing for yourself, how they started and where they are and how they grew.
Yeah.
In spite of, the challenges in the environment and all.
Yeah.
So those are the different things. So right now, for instance, I have a project with BOI where we brought in entrepreneurs. We did a 3-month mini MBA where we looked at entrepreneurial orientation and business management training. And right now, as we speak, they're on apprenticeship for another 6 months.
Wow.
Business. So we're already merging it. Okay.
Yeah.
So what people is that, look, apprenticeship is the indigenous version of a hub.
Yeah.
An accelerator.
Yeah.
Okay? When you go to an accelerator, what do they do for you? They help you, they tell you more about the business, they help you understand the market, they give you funding. All that happens during apprenticeship. When you're master, So I say, while the accelerator or the hubs are Western forms of accelerators, apprenticeship is the African version of a hub.
Actually, accelerators are new in essence. Globally in the past, everybody does this apprenticeship, okay, everywhere, okay.
Yeah.
It just these accelerators are new inventions. Yeah.
Yes, new format of the same thing, because an accelerator is meant to help accelerate your growth.
Exactly.
Apprenticeship helps accelerate your growth.
Yeah.
So for me, I combine the Western and indigenous systems.
Yeah.
I take the best of both worlds. Okay. So when they finish with the apprenticeship system, they're going to come back to school. Where right now we're actually making contacts with people who can give them access to markets globally. Both people who have access with the African Continental Free Trade Agreements and those who have access to platforms like Amazon, and they can give them access to markets overseas.
Yeah. So
we want to promote the export of processed products from Africa, not raw materials or primary products.
Yeah.
So it's a 4-phase training. Okay. So we have the first phase where we do the entrepreneurship orientation. and business management training. Then the second phase, when we go into apprenticeship, for that the first phase is for 3 months.
Yeah.
The second phase of apprenticeship, they're already running their own businesses. They already, but they're apprenticing with bigger versions of themselves to help them see how they can grow faster, to give them a mentor in their industries, to generally help them, even if possible, partner with these mentors to export,
to expand and explore other areas.
Yes. Okay. So during this period, they're meant to write their business growth plan. And also keep a log of key learnings that they have acquired during this period.
Very good.
Now, so based on this, when they come back to school, they're going to present to us. And then we will connect them to these people who will give them access to wider markets globally, both in Africa and other parts of the world. And then at this point, when we look at their business growth plan, we'll work on it with them, and then provide them with access to funding. So the funders will know that they have been de-risked based on training. You can see their track record of performance since they came out to the training. Okay. Training still give them time to work on their businesses while being trained. Okay. They now have mentors who are bigger than them, who they could also fall back on for questions or to collaborate with them to in exporting goods, to other countries. And then, so they are now more attractive for people to fund. For example, funding is important, but it has its place, its place is not number one.
Okay.
Funding should come after training, because if you give me money without training, I'm going to lose. I'm going to waste money.
You waste it. Yes. See, Henrietta, Africa is still trying to develop. Okay. And I know that entrepreneurship is very, very vital, okay, as solution providers, okay? And there's so many challenges to which we need solutions, okay? So we need a lot of entrepreneurs, okay? Do you think Africa as a continent is doing the best in terms of governments? Okay, do you think we are doing the more than the basic to get young people into solution provision as entrepreneurs?
Okay, so we can always do better, but we are definitely trying. The problem with Africa is that we have the wrong people usually. I mean, it's a global problem. Okay, it's not only an African problem. You can see from what we're seeing happen around the world. Even with the war of Russia against Ukraine. But that's not. I don't want to go in that direction. But basically, there's something you said at the beginning I want to correct, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You said Africa is still trying to develop.
Okay.
We forget that's their brain. That's one of the ways that they brainwash us to think about Africa.
Okay. Explain.
You forget that Africa is the seat of civilization. You forget that civilization started in Africa.
Okay, sorry. Let me say this. I didn't forget. Okay. I didn't forget.
Okay.
But go on.
So my point is that Africa's civilization trajectory was truncated. Okay.
How?
And
when?
Truncated through colonization.
I disagree.
Okay, no problem. You can let me just land.
Okay.
Truncated, and this is research. I'm not even saying what I know. I mean, I'm not talking about my opinion. I'm using research facts here.
Okay.
So, because colonization did a couple of things. There's a dependency theory and there's a modernist theory. Okay. The modernists taught that for you to make progress, you must jettison everything indigenous because it is backward, it is primitive, and they must embrace everything Western for you to grow. And this mindset continued till 1960, when another school of thought, the dependencies, rose and said, no, this is wrong. Okay. Why do you think Asia, India are growing the way they're growing while Africa seems to be deteriorating? Because the Asians and the put a much stronger resistance to the Western conventions by saying, no, we have our own homegrown ways, which we insist on proceeding with.
Okay.
Okay. So if, for example, I want to say that a measure of development is your ability to make egusi soup and pounded yam perfectly, who do you think will win? Africa. You know, if on the other hand, I say a measure of civilization is your ability to make salad niçoise, which is a very typical French salad. Who do you think will win? France will win.
Okay.
Because nobody, you cannot beat anybody at their indigenous game.
Okay.
Okay, good. So now, like somebody was saying, before this was, I think it was even in, I think it was a Latin American saying, and it was an Indian American saying, the original American saying, before the Americans came, we didn't need prisons because nobody stole. Before they came, there was not like unemployment because people learned from their parents the skill and the skills and the trades with which they could earn a living from childhood, such that by the time they were teenagers, they were experts. They could take care of a wife and family. Today, we have prisons for criminals. And then if people didn't have, everybody gave without thinking twice. So there was no need to steal. So we didn't need prisons. Today, we have prisons, we have drugs, we still have poverty, we still have people who don't have what they need. Have we actually made progress? Okay, so you're right. Today, we all see progress as air conditioners, fancy homes, you know, which is good. I mean, I don't live in a cave and I don't want to live in a cave, okay? But my point is, these fancy homes were not like this from the beginning. They evolved from mud houses to cement homes, to bungalows, to story buildings, to skyscrapers. These things, just like the cars we drive today, are nothing close to the cars we drove 30 years ago. They've been evolving. So the question is, if civilization started in Africa, if it was not interrupted, would it not have evolved? Do you realize that it was Africans that took the idea of vaccinations to the Western world? The idea of cesarean section to the Western world? If you Google Black innovations, you will see that many of the things you attribute to the Western world, including the manufacture of cars, the internet, the traffic lights, the telescope, all these are African inventions. Claimed even the light bulb that we think is Thomas Edison. It was Louis Latimer, a Black guy, who invented the carbon filament that lights up the bulb. When the filament dies, can the bulb give you light? So there's so many things, even the assembly line. So my point is not to, I mean, of course, every culture has what it brings to the table. Who I am today is a combination of cultures. It's a combination of me being Nigerian plus my exposure to countries all over the world. I've been to China, Japan, UK, US. I mean, so I'm not 100% African in the real sense of the word. Okay, I have learned a lot from this exposure, and it has affected the way I think, the way I teach, and the way I design my program. Okay, so and that is why I have understood that when that the universal flavor, you know, the university, every region has the richness it brings to the table. And we have to know how to go around picking the best from everywhere we go to so that we have something richer.
Okay.
I'm not saying Africa is the best, or no. I'm saying that Africa had what it was good at. But between the, you know, taking away the people and making them believe that they were inferior, you know, brainwashing, okay, a lot of what I mean, I taught a course in Yale in entrepreneurship. I taught the Yale MBAs in 2019. And my course was titled Contemporary Principles of African Indigenous Entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And I was helping them see that most of what American scholars call breakthrough were actually being practiced by our forefathers in Africa.
Okay.
They just have new names now, fancy names today. Okay. So my point here is that when you bring African wisdom with Asian wisdom and Western wisdom together, what you have is explosive.
Okay.
And the reason why today China is threatening America's dominance as the world power is because they exploit their indigenous Asian knowledge, and they combine it with what they've learned. Because you see, China is one country that has deliberately gotten this foreign strategy. Go out there, learn, and come back. I don't know if you've seen the video of Chinese children learning Igbo. They've understood what Africa has, both in terms of wisdom as well as natural resources. And they want to be able to penetrate. So they're learning Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. Okay? Now, so I'm not condemning the Western world. No,
hold on, Henrietta. See, if you notice, I just let you talk. Okay. Now, this discussion is a discussion we can have for 2 hours. Okay. This particular topic. Okay. Now, I will say this to you. What is termed Western? Nothing that the West do that was originally from the West. Very few. Okay. Everything in human civilization. Okay. I use this word specifically. Yeah. Human civilization. Okay. It goes from place to place to place to place to place to place to place. Okay. Different peoples have contributed to this, what the West is doing today. Okay. What the West has been doing for the last 300 years. Absolutely. Was a combination of things that human beings have learned through time. Okay. And the West is not sitting down and say, this is ours. No. You see, and we as Africans need to also not say, this is the West, because what the West is doing is a combination of things that human beings have learned through time. Okay. Now, where I disagree with you is when you say that the trajectory of Africa was truncated by colonization. I totally disagree. Okay. Now, we don't have the time to talk about it. And if you want to talk about it, maybe I will be willing to invite you back so that we can dig into this. But my position is this: human beings are all the same. Okay. And we should be open-minded enough to learn from the next group. If they know something we don't know, or if they have taken things from us and made it better, right? We should not say, oh, we started it. That means what? You started it, but you were not able to make it.
I think you're ending up repeating what I said.
Okay. Maybe I am.
I think I made that point, and I said to you, even I'm a product of all the exposure.
Exactly. You did say that.
So I don't think we're disagreeing. You say you disagree with me. You agree with me at the end of the day.
Okay. So, but the point is this thinking that our trajectory was truncated by colonization is not true. It is not true.
But it's fine. I respect your views, but it's
okay. So let's just pick those things that will help us to go to the next level that we want to get to.
Absolutely. But I said that already. Pick the best of all the world.
Okay, very good. So let's see why I needed to talk about it is that I hear so many people, a lot of young Africans on the internet saying all those things. And you see, if a lot of us have this mindset that we can't learn anything from the West because the West is this and that and that.
Ekene, please don't mix things up.
Okay.
To say a problem known is half solved.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to school. I did my PhD in the UK. I did my master.
Very good.
One of my masters in the University of Navarra, Spain.
Okay.
I've worked and studied in both the UK and the US.
Okay.
And I've said to you in this talk, and the time they're going to edit this podcast.
No, I don't really edit it. Everything we say goes on.
Well, I think you should edit it. I hope.
Really?
Yeah. But anyway, but the reason I'm saying this is very simple. I think you're mixing things up. Okay. Definitely, in every society, there's a good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
I don't believe in blaming rather than creating your future. I believe that no matter what has happened in your past, you have the power to create your future.
Exactly.
I believe in learning from all cultures.
Okay.
And I think I already said that my exposure has been very enriching. So I can't even say I am only Nigerian or African right now, because
good.
Everywhere I have gone, I go with an open mind to learn.
Okay.
But you see, you can't also ignore historical facts.
Okay.
There are Europeans who want to help Africa. There are many who want to destroy Africa so that they can
agree.
Cheap resources from Africa. And if you read my posts on LinkedIn, especially, you see me preach collaboration.
Like I do. Okay.
And so I'm the last person that will say you can't learn from anybody or
no, I didn't say you. I didn't say you.
No, in general. Okay. So my point is, but you do have to recognize that some of the reasons why Africa is where it is today is because of the way things are set up on purpose. You will be naive to not recognize that. Because you see, Africa contains 8% of the resources the rest of the world needs. If Africa develops, they will get those resources which they're getting now for peanuts because they have the strength to beat down the price at a higher price. And they don't want that. Yeah. Because it will dismantle their comfort. Now, it's not everybody in Europe who is like that. There's a group called Fair Trade who are fighting seriously to ensure that Africa gets paid better for goods. Yeah. Okay, so I'm aware of the good, the bad, and the ugly. But you cannot pretend that what happened did not happen. So no, and you can easily see, hold on a second, that right now, okay, you're seeing Africans who are coming into their own, very proud. In fact, even I wear many times African prints in corporate styles. Yeah. Okay. Today's one of the few days I'm wearing a Western print. Okay. So my point is, now it doesn't mean I'm going to start putting tribal marks all over my face. Okay. But honestly, I find those things even very, very smart. And that's why I do it. Not just to say, and I tell people, I won't buy from you because you're Nigerian if you don't give me good quality. Yeah. I will buy from you, give me good quality Nigerian products. Yeah. Okay? The quality is bad, I will not touch it. Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm going somewhere with this. All I'm trying to say is that, going back to the topic of entrepreneurship, are there many indigenous African principles that our forefathers have always known? Yeah. These are only just being discovered by the Western world. Okay. So the same way I'm saying to you that we need to combine both indigenous principles and Western principles. I agree. Yeah. And in the program I'm running now, I showed an example of how I combine it. Okay. A mini MBA combined with apprenticeship, and then before they come back again for access to markets and funding. So this is a blend of Western and African indigenous principles. So I believe in taking the best of both worlds. If I were to come to your house today, I will learn from your child, even though I'm a grown-up and I'm a professor. Okay. I learn from my driver. I learn from the Asian. I learn from the German. I learn from the British. So everybody that's humanity. Exactly. Yeah. You know. So there's no question about that. Okay. So we do agree. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. See, I saw something on your LinkedIn profile. You talk about sustainable socio-economic development. Absolutely. Okay. So in your view, what is the biggest challenge? First of all, tell my audience, those that do not know what sustainable socio-economic development is. Okay, so you can actually have economic development without social development. You can have a disparity of aggressive economic growth and lagging social development. Okay. When there's income disparity. okay, when there's no shared prosperity. And indeed, that's what the whole world is falling into, both across continents and within continents, or within countries. So if you go to America now, that's the biggest problem, the challenge they now have. The poor are getting poorer while the rich are getting richer. Now, when you have that disparity, okay, it threatens the sustainability of the system.
Yeah.
It's in our collective interest to have shared prosperity, where everybody, no, we're not saying everybody's going to be the same, okay? That's communism.
Okay.
Makes sense, okay? All we're saying is that people at least have what they need.
Okay.
There's some countries in the world, I think, was it Netherlands, they said, that now has a policy of eradicating homelessness. So anybody who is homeless gets a home, you know. But it also, sometimes you end up with what they call the Dutch disease, that people don't want to work anymore because they know that if they don't work, government will take them. So, but the point here is that it's difficult to reach that balance, but shared prosperity can easily happen when people have a genuinely entrepreneurial mindset. Like I tell people, entrepreneurship is intrinsically social. So I don't talk about social entrepreneurship because I've realized that the richest companies in the world are the ones that have had the most impact on humanity. Okay. Why was Bill Gates the richest man in the world for 18 consecutive years? Because he came up with a solution. He was passionate about making people more creative and came up with a solution that everybody in the world needs.
Yeah.
Which is why no matter where you go to, whether it's Ethiopia or Israel or the UK or the US, you know, you're in Africa, you will always see the Microsoft logo. We all need computers. Now, before he invented the personal computer, okay, we had these big mighty mainframes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like saying,
IBMs.
Exactly. But yeah, exactly. You know, so it's almost like somebody telling you that I'm going to democratize private jets. To us, it's like a pipe dream. But that's precisely what Bill Gates did by making mainframes, suddenly putting a computer in every home. Same way we felt when somebody said everybody will have a mobile phone, because we all had wired phones, okay? And mobile phones are only for the extremely wealthy. But today, your maid, at least in Nigeria, the maids, the drivers,
everybody.
But some 20, 30 years ago, that sounded like, how? It's not possible.
Yeah.
Only the rich have this, okay? Similarly, Henry Ford did the same thing. At the point when only the very wealthy Americans drove cars, the rest of the Americans were doing what? Riding on horse carriages. Henry Ford said, I want to democratize this process, okay? And so using the assembly line process, which by the way was informed to him by a Black guy, he was able to crash the price of cars 20 times over, because before, one person took about a year or two. I've been to the Harley-Davidson exhibition where they showed us how, you know, what the first cars looked like and how it could take one person about 2 or 3 years to make one car. So of course, you can imagine why it would be so expensive, okay? But with the assembly line process, you could produce 20, 30 cars in one day, okay? Or 1 week, I don't know. But obviously, that definitely brought down the price of cars, which meant that other people could now afford cars, which meant that roads had to be built, which meant that gas stations had to be built, which meant that parts productions companies have to be created. So you see that one good solution can actually give birth to many industries,
multiple other industries.
Exactly.
Yep.
Which create jobs, which creates wealth, and which creates shared prosperity. And that's why the entrepreneurial mindset is so important. Now, going back to the question you had asked initially, do I think that African governments are making enough efforts to spur entrepreneurship in the continent?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Africa is going through a phase of growth that many countries have been through.
Yeah.
We're at the phase now where we have rulers, not leaders, because a leader puts its people first. But our rulers are very good at what they're doing, which is amassing personal wealth. So they make statements and they do make efforts, but again, the effort to be more sincere and genuine and concrete if they were more sincere and cared more about people. Because entrepreneurship is like releasing an accelerator, unleashing shared prosperity into society.
Yeah.
Because if everybody is providing a solution to the problems that they identify, society's improvements will happen faster. People will be making money from making a difference.
Okay.
So that's why you have socio-economic development, which means social and economic development.
Yeah.
And what sustains it is shared prosperity, because if I have a product, maybe a hotel, or I produce gold, or I produce fancy clothes, you can only buy if you have money. If everybody else
that's true.
who's going to stay in my hotel? Who's going to buy my jewelry? Who's going to buy my clothing? So it's actually, in fact, Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki wrote a book titled Why We Want You to Be Rich.
Yeah.
Shared prosperity is in everybody's interest. But people are sometimes so selfish and greedy, and there's selfish leaders all over the place, not only in Africa. Okay. And people are sometimes too selfish to allow themselves think it through, to understand that, hey, if I have a system that allows everybody to have some level of prosperity,
yeah,
I'll be richer because more people can buy from me. Okay. So to those who understand this, fight for shared prosperity. Those who are too greedy and selfish and want to keep, the wealth to themselves alone, actually work actively against shared prosperity.
Okay.
So we have both forces in the world.
So my next question, how can we enlighten people in a society that we need shared prosperity?
By doing the kind of things we're doing now. We're speaking. Okay, so I don't know how many people are listening to this podcast, but it's the beginning. So, and that's why I write what I do on LinkedIn. And so you can't underestimate the power of one. We can each make a difference.
Yeah.
So, and I told at the beginning, I'm very purpose driven. The reason I accepted this podcast, even though I will have to go very soon, is because I wanted to be popular on a podcast with you. Because I saw it as another opportunity to be able to spread this idea about what entrepreneurship really means and how shared prosperity is in the interest of everybody.
Yeah.
Rather than being exploitative. Okay. So collaboration always pays much more than exploitation.
Yeah. Yeah. So since you have to go very soon, I will only ask you a few questions to round this up. You explain to my audience a little bit about the African Continental Trade Agreement.
Okay? Trade agreements.
Give us a little bit of history, okay, and the opportunities it presents to entrepreneurs across Africa.
Right. So because of Africa's level of infrastructural development, it has always been very difficult to move goods and services across Africa. And we know that for an economy to work well, okay, the movement of goods and services are important. How do I sell what I have? I may have cola nuts, I may have cinnamon, or I don't know, many things that you want. If I can't get it across to you, you can actually die of hunger or not have it. You know? So and if I can get it across to you, then you can easily pay me. Then we have shared, a win-win situation.
Yeah.
So for a long time, trade with Africa has always happened with other countries outside the continent.
Outside the continent, yes.
And because the countries outside the continent have been like the bigger bullies, to say this, to put it in a sense, they determine what they want to pay. And so they can say, I won't pay beyond this. And because you want to sell, you say, okay, at least you're buying something from me. Good. And African countries didn't trade much amongst them,
amongst themselves, yes.
Among themselves, because they, first of all, there were many borders.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to move goods and services because of the level of infrastructural development.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the African leaders have come together to say, you know what, for us to strengthen Africa's economy, we have to be able to trade more, take advantage of ourselves, okay? We have different resources in different countries in Africa. Why can't we sell to ourselves and buy from ourselves?
Yeah.
To strengthen
increase the market.
Okay. Not only increase the market, but strengthen each other. And of course, increase the market, because if I'm selling, I don't know what, maybe let's take fashion, for example. Fashion is a $3 trillion industry.
Yeah.
If I'm a designer and I can sell my designs to other African countries, I make a lot more money.
Yeah.
And if those who buy from me sell to other African countries, they also make money.
Yeah.
So even the money within the continents, by buying from one another. So why are the Jews the wealthiest all over the world? Because wherever the Jews go, they form a community and they buy and sell from each other and they help each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay? So it's a similar concept we're now trying to achieve in Africa, to say, look, we are 1.3 billion, okay, which by the way is the population of India alone.
Yeah.
So when they tell us lies that Africa is overpopulated, you know it's not true. Because the African continent is bigger. No, I need to say these things because you need to know what the fallacies are so we don't start working against ourselves. Because you find that, and I'm saying this because they make African governments spend a lot of money they can spend on maternal health care, on population, on contraceptives.
Yeah.
So we need to think, Africa, wake up. Don't kill your children. Your children are your future.
Oh, no.
We are not overpopulated. The African continent can contain India, China, and the US, and it will still have.
Yeah.
And yet,
China, all of them. Yeah.
And yet, our population is not up to the population of China, and it's just the population of India alone. 1.3 billion is India's population. And that's the population of the entire African continent.
Yeah.
Okay. But again, by trading within ourselves, we strengthen the economy of the continent and we create jobs, and then we can also catalyze our own infrastructural developments.
Okay.
So it is an opportunity. But then again, I wonder if we really understand it, because while we have signed the agreements to say trade in Africa, all the borders are still up.
Yeah.
For me to go to Kenya, I still need a visa. For Kenya to come, I still need a visa. So what's the point signing it? So there are a lot of teething problems we're still going through, trying to get that to materialize. But I would still say it is progress, because at least we've agreed that, and on 55 out of the 56 countries in Africa have signed the agreement, but we'll now have to ensure the implementation follows through. Yeah. It's normal for it to take a bit of time for it to really happen, because the EU also took 30 years to come to fruition. So, but I think we're on the right track by having this agreement signed and ratified, and hopefully, as the years go by, it will actually become.
So, which one country is still holding out?
Eritrea.
Oh, okay.
Well enough not to be.
Yeah. So, in general, what is your biggest concern about Africa's development in the 21st century?
The quality of leadership. But the good news is that a lot of people, I know individuals who are spending their own personal funds to sponsor young people to go and learn leadership in places like Kennedy School of Government, Oxford, Blavatnik School of Government in Oxford. I think it's a beautiful thing. I know others who are organizing leadership seminars within the continent, just to make sure that we eventually have more people who are prepared to understand what leadership is, and really can get that position and carry it out, execute in the future. And also awareness of, because you see, look, people, I think it was the CEO of Coca-Cola who came and said, we export Nigerians. If you don't know yourself, you'll be meant to feel that you're inferior and you'll be exploited. So when I say certain things, not because my parents studied abroad, I don't have any racial bias. I could have married a green man. So yes, and it's true, because from primary school, I was taught. I went to a multiracial school from early on. So I'm all for collaboration, because I've seen the ugliness of racism. And it's more enriching when we're able to respect and appreciate, and as you were saying, and I said I was saying, learn from each other. Everybody has something you can learn from. I mean, when I went to Croatia, I was blown away. I said, why do we only think about the US and the UK? I mean, Croatia is like a paradise on earth. All those Eastern European countries, they're so beautiful. It's almost, I was pinching myself, is this real? Honestly, So the point I'm trying to make here is that, was it Croatia? No, Slovenia I went to. So my point is, precisely, like there's a quote, I think I did a piece on Nelson Mandela's quote where he said that they are not, I've forgotten what it was again, that the world is not divided into races. The world is divided into foolish people and wise people. Foolish people being those who are foolish enough to divide themselves along the lines of race and tribe and religion. So and that's really what it is. Okay, so we have to, and you see, African art was supposed to be uncivilized, but our art was already so valuable that the British took it, stole it, and they're still saying we won't return it. So you ask yourself, so how come so the point is, we have to be aware that the brainwashing was done and it has to be undone by ourselves. Okay? Without despising the people. Okay, two wrongs don't make a right. Don't do the same thing they've done to you to them, but understand your value and push it and demand value for money. I mean, money for your value.
Okay.
So a time will come when we will say, you know what, Britain, you either pay for our goods or you return it. Don't tell me you enjoy.
Okay.
You enjoyed watching. You enjoy seeing my art in your museum, and you can't imagine not seeing it again. Well, pay for it or return it.
Yeah, I had a gentleman on the podcast who is actually involved in retrieving the Benin art. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's his name now? Oh my God, forgotten. Yeah,
No
yeah. So yeah, all those things. Yes, you mentioned leadership. It's a big
Once we can get
challenge.
leadership right, everything else will fall in place. Everything rises and falls on leadership. But in the meantime, I still think that the reason why Africa continues to grow, is because of the resilience of the average African entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is poor leadership on our part. There's also still a strong negative Western intervention. I mean, look at what France is doing to Francophone African countries.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I keep on saying, where is the AU? AU your brothers.
See,
So but my point is, so there are many different things one has to consider, but I still believe that each one has the power to create their future.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not despondent. I'm not against it because I've gained a lot from the Western world. I've studied there. Okay. They're part of who I am today. So I'm not against them in any way, shape, or form. All I'm saying is that that selfish people, even in Africa or Asia or the West, need to stop to understand that it is to their detriment. We are all enriched people of pressure.
The only thing I would say is this: people have always been selfish.
Yes,
okay? So in essence,
from selfish Africans right now.
In essence,
leaders, rather.
There's nothing that is happening today that just started yesterday.
True.
Okay, see, it's only that in this era we see everything instantly.
Exactly.
Okay. So yeah. So let's go to the last question. My last question I ask anybody is, what is your vision for Africa in 20-30 years time?
I want to see, I always tell people that Africa's potential will be unleashed by Africans.
Okay.
I want to see a socio-economically stronger Africa. And I believe that once Africa gets its economic rights, its economic acts together, the other nations will begin to respect Africa, and racism will be a thing of the past. I strongly believe that racism is an economic thing. When you have money, everybody respects you. But of course, it has to be honorable money. I don't mean be wealthy at all costs. Okay. Okay. Be wealthy from doing the right things. And I teach people, and I've seen, if you look at the really wealthy companies that last, a company that will last has to be, or a company that will be wealthy has to be good for society and good for the world. Yeah. So doing good is good business. Yeah. And doing bad ultimately self-destructs. Yes. Tell people, once you're solution driven, you will have a ready market, all other things being equal. So as Africans, let's keep our values. Okay, there are 4 things I tell people you need to keep in mind for you to be successful and sustainably successful. Yeah. Okay. Skills, be competent, be the best at what you do. Okay. Second, values. Yeah. Hold your values: integrity, humility, loyalty, decency. Yeah. Okay. So, and kindness. Yeah. Of course, everybody wants to be perfect, but we're not. So spirituality. Okay. Who was it? I think it was Aristotle that said something that I'm putting in class today when I finish with you, where it says that the person who is able to overcome himself is stronger than the person who is able to overcome other nations, because overcoming oneself is the most difficult war to fight.
Okay.
And this is where spirituality comes in. If we're not spiritual enough to ask God for his grace and help, we're going to self-defeat.
Okay.
Okay, so, and if you're a person of values, and your values are sustained by your spirituality, you will do good and therefore do well in business.
Okay.
So first, competence, skills. Second, values. The third is doing good, offering what is good for the world and good for society.
Okay.
And the last is character. Again, character is supported by your values.
Yeah.
Okay? If your values are good and strong, your character will be good. Your character either elevates you or destroys you. Okay? And your character is informed by your values.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
And if you have good character, you can run a company well, because people will be committed to you, they'll be inspired by you, and they'll be loyal to you. Okay, so once you can keep these 4 things in mind, as if I call it SVVC, that's my acronym for it. Okay, these are the foundations for success in every sphere of life. Okay, so once you can keep that foundation, I think that people will act right, and they'll get the desired outcomes, and they will build a successful, an economically and socially successful and strong society.
Yeah,
and it will be made and to remain sustainable.
Wow. Henrietta, thank you very much. I know you are running to go to class. Yes. Thank you very much for being a great guest of the Think Big for Africa podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. All the best.
Yeah.
Cheers.